What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Real Spit from a Gangsta Gone Legit. Before we get started, I want you to hit that like and smash that subscribe button. Yo, today we got my man Mike Curry, aka Mikey. What's up, homie?
Ain't know what's going on.
Man, it ain't nothing, man. Glad you could be a part of this platform.
Thank you.
That's what's up, man.
When I walked out that prison, I said to myself, no one else, I would never come back to prison. And I always heard that you're never supposed to say never, but I knew I never would come back to prison because I knew that I was an entrepreneur. I just didn't have the experience yet.
I've always heard that too, brother, but I'm just a person that I don't believe and listen to everything I hear either. So
Exactly.
I don't really, no, you said you was never coming back, and as long as you change your thinking, then you ain't never going back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what it comes down to. So a lot of people hear it, and it's cliche, they say it, but it doesn't apply at all in all instances,
right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
In all scenarios. But that's commendable. So since you've been home, you have, okay, so take me there then. Since you've been home, what have you been doing?
Okay, so my journey to success actually started before I came home. It started once I was able to start the process of understanding the business and finance world. So let me take you back to some of my mentors.
Let me stop you there before you go further. So is it fair to say that your journey started because you changed your thinking? Is that
Yeah,
right?
I was able to ostracize my way of thinking from my new way of thinking from my old way of thinking.
Okay.
So I wasn't happy to say I'm from Castigate. Or when somebody from Boston come, yo, where you from? I'm from Castigate.
Right.
Just so I could see the expression on their face.
Now you see you got me smiling,
You know?
right? And the reason I'm
Yeah.
smiling because it took me a long time to get to that point myself, so
Yeah.
I know the feeling. And
Yeah,
when you say
so-
that, I get it. You're not putting it down because it's a part of who you was.
Yeah. So the old me was, as soon as you come, they got us a new homie from Boston. I run up, yo, where you from? I'm from Castigate. They, oh, I'm from here. Oh, okay, all right, I'm from Castigate. I just want to let you know. Basically, let them know I'm on that bullshit.
Right.
Now, the new me, yo, what's up? You from Boston? All right, what part? They tell me, all right, yo, my name's Southside. Boom. Give them what, yo, where you from? Grove Hall. Grove Hall, yeah. But Interville, nah, Castigate. Formerly, you know?
Yeah.
So now, that's how I knew I grew. You know, to people that didn't know. You know,
So your growth started while you was inside.
yeah, my growth started once I learned about the business and finance. You know, so once I started learning about that engulfed a lot of my time in prison because I had a mentor that was teaching me a business planning. Rest in peace, Roy Fluker from Detroit. He taught me so much. Like you know, like I owe him so much, and I owe him success, and that's why. You know, like he wanted to see me become successful, but he passed away 2 months after I got out in prison. So I went extremely hard in honor of him. So, you know, I always post stuff about him on Facebook because he was the one that got me from being that shy type of entrepreneur where I really didn't want to give the knowledge or speak the knowledge. So he was getting it out of me daily because I was intimidated by his wisdom. So he got it out of me. And then I had another one that taught me about real estate. Then I had one that taught me about learning business and consumer credit. Then I had another one that taught me about
these are different
finance.
convicts you're talking
These different mentors that I had in the prison. So like most of my time was spent in the library because they was different hours. So I might sit down with one from 6 to 8 at night, and then one from 9 to 10 in the morning. So
How long was this? Is this from your 9th year on?
yeah, this for my 9th year
So the
on.
last 3 years, you just
I
started
was on it.
feeding that mind, that
Yeah,
knowledge.
and it gave me so much energy. You know, like it made me feel like I was the Hulk.
That's a good way to look at it.
Nah, because I felt like brolic.
Right.
Mentally, I'm like, yo, I'm ready. Can't nobody tell me nothing, yo. When I get out, I'm getting it.
It's on.
By all means. And at the time, I already wrote 5 manuscripts. So by me writing 5 manuscripts, the only thing I didn't have was the business side of the publishing game.
Okay.
So
Let me slow you down right quick. So you said you wrote manuscripts. So that means, and I know this of course already, but they don't. So what made you want to write a book? Because I do know that that's what you've done. And then how many books have you written so far? So what made you want to write your first book? And then,
okay, so going back into my first bid when I was in the Feds up in FCI Petersburg, I was trying to get out of there because it was out of my region. And they told me the only way I can get out if I did 3 programs. So I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna do 3 bullshit programs. So I went to the library, I'm seeking and searching for the programs. And then I seen that they had something called creative writing. But I didn't know that it was creative writing advanced. So I signed up for the class, I got accepted. And when I get in the class, everybody in there wrote a book. So if they reading, so the teacher starts off the class like, all right, so everybody read a chapter from their book. So I'm like, book. So I'm sitting there, I'm the only one in the class that didn't write. So I'm like, shh. Now, the guy that was teaching the class was the monster out of Connecticut named Vinny. He was in my unit. So I'm like, man, Vinny know I ain't writing no book. But I seen he was a different type of person in the class. Like, he was actually mean. I'm talking about nice, monster, polite, generous Vinny. He was mean. So I'm all like, damn.
he was mean in the class?
Yeah, like kind of like strict. So they reading it, they going around. So it comes to me, I'm like, oh, I didn't know this was advanced. I didn't write. So he's like, next week come with a chapter. I'm like, damn, and he's like going in. So, I go back to, and if you challenge me, I'm gonna do it. So I go back to my cell. I start writing. I write like 1 chapter, 2 chapters. I'm going on the 3rd. I said, let me see if I'm doing this right. I go to Vinny's room. Vinny's in a room with a brother named Akbar Prey. Akbar Prey was the one that originally put the thought in my head about writing the book. Vinny put the plan of action in the book. Put the plan of action in me while I was in the class. So when I go in, Vinny's reading it out loud. So I'm all like, so Vinny was all like, how long you been writing for? So I just wrote that. He said, I'm gonna ask you again, how long you been writing for? I'm like, today. He said, it's very good. Keep writing. So I'm like, all right. So Akbar Prey looking at me. Now, for those that don't know who Akbar Prey is, he's the biggest drug dealer in New Jersey history. He got a life bid, a couple life sentences, and he's a well-known prisoner in the federal system. He's been down since the 80s, and he's respected in every prison that he stepped foot in. He wrote a book called Death of the Game, and he was the one telling me that the game is dead during my first bid, that the game's over. And he was giving examples in his book why the game's over. But when I was reading his book, I was just looking for the money, how he's making money, and see if he's gonna get tricks and trades on how he became who he was. In which he really didn't, but it was a good book because it when you get older and wiser, it teaches you.
So what was the most valuable lesson you got from that book?
The most valuable lesson that I got from the book is that you ain't gonna win. You ain't gonna win because at the end of the day, the bigger you get, the more time they're gonna give you.
Okay, so your writing actually started accidentally then?
Yeah, it started accidentally.
Fair to say, right?
Yep.
Because you took a class that you had no idea about, and then your Vinny told you to write a chapter, which you did.
Yeah.
Okay, and so that accident turned into 2 books today, right?
Yeah, it turned into 2 books. But what happened was when I got out from that sentence, I never visited writing ever again.
Oh, okay.
What happened was when I got locked up this time, I committed myself in the county. I said, I'm gonna write a book. I'm gonna write a book because I know how to write a book. So I'm gonna write a book. So I said, like, tell people in the county, I'm gonna write a book. They just like, oh, I can't wait to read it and stuff like that. So when I came into the system, I immediately got a job in the library. Immediately got my own typewriter, immediately got my own quiet corner, and I started my process of writing a book from day one of me being sentenced. And that's what that part right there kept me out of a lot of trouble too, because I worked from 8 to 8, 8 in the morning to 8 at night in the library, typing. So people that see me on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever that I was incarcerated with, they already know because they seen the work I put in.
Right.
So they know. I was there. And they could say that with pride. I knew that I was there.
Right.
It's the people that knew me, that wasn't in contact with me, that didn't know. You understand?
So let's talk about that book. So what is the name of your first book that you put out?
Okay, the first book I put out was called 3 Pounds of Pressure. And the reason why I called it 3 Pounds of Pressure, because that's all it takes, between 3 to 5 pounds of pressure to pull the trigger. That's all it takes. So, and the book is it's a good read.
Are these fiction or non-fiction books?
They fiction books.
Okay, so that means you learned how to become a storyteller.
Yeah, I learned how to become a storyteller.
That's good.
So I learned how to become a storyteller, and but in all actuality, we all storytellers because we all seen and been through a lot. So if I could tell a war story to someone and they intrigued by it, then why can't you make that war story into a book? Yeah. So we all could tell stories. Some just could tell stories better than others, And I was able to format my stories and incorporate. I'm not saying real life events, but things that happen that's traumatic in people's lives. So it might have been something that I've been through, something I witnessed, or something that I'm even going through. I just fictionalized it, whereas anyone can understand and see what's life like in the inner city.
So is that your passion now, becoming an author?
Yeah. My passion is writing. Actually, when I first got out, I did an interview. They was asking some questions beforehand, like when I first started writing. And actually, I really didn't start writing before. I started writing before Vinny. When I was young in grade school, I used to write these fictionalized stories about wrestlers. So that's why it was natural that I wrote that story. Vinny, but how long you been writing?
Right. The reason I was going to say that when you said it earlier, the reason he asked you when did you start writing, is because he's seen it in you. The way you wrote the paragraph that you wrote, it obviously, hit him in a way where he knew this is a brother that has talent.
Yeah.
That's deep rooted. There's something more here. He's a writer. Mm-hmm. See, a writer, everybody who writes a book is not a writer.
You're right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
A writer is someone that can capture the audience, through the pages at each turn. You know what I mean? And obviously that's what you must have did at Vinny.
Yeah. Yep.
And at least that's what I got when I was listening to it.
That's exactly what happened, and I was just trying to pass the class. So, I ended up writing like 15 chapters, and then I just left it alone. I don't even know what happened to them chapters, but I know that was like my early work.
So, how many books do you have today?
I got 3 Pounds of Pressure, and then I came out with Shattered Dreams.
Say that again?
Shattered Dreams. That's part of the 3 Pounds of Pressure series. See, the 3 Pounds of Pressure is a book series, so it was 3 Pounds of Pressure, then a spin-off of 3 Pounds of Pressure, Shattered Dreams. So that came out, and then I'm coming out with 3 Pounds of Pressure 2, when pressure is applied in April.
Okay.
On the anniversary of when 3 Pounds of Pressure came out. So I'm honoring my first book with part 2.
So before we go on, let the people know where they can find these books.
Okay, so you can find 3 Pounds of Pressure and Shattered Dreams on my website, thelifeafterprison.com. You can find it on my company website, unseenhands.com with a Z. You can find it on Amazon, Target, Walmart, anywhere. Amazon, Barnes and Nobles.
It's impressive, bro.
And you just Google the name, and it's gonna come up.
3 Pounds of Pressure.
3 Pounds of Pressure. Mike Curry. It's gonna come up, I advise everyone to read it. If you want to sign a copy, you could go to unseenhandswithaz.com or thelifeafterprison.com. I'll sign you a copy, and you'll get it in time before Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and anyone will send it. I'll get it to you fast.
That's what's up. A lot of times people pretty much glorify doing time, and they always tell the good stories, and oh man, I was up there with my homies and it was sweet, and that's bullshit. What was the most regrettable loss that you had, or the most regrettable thing that you did in your no, forget regrettable. What was the worst thing, the worst feeling that you had doing all that?
Abandonment. Like, that's a lot of people that never been incarcerated don't know what abandonment is. So by me being incarcerated first for 9 years and then again for 16 years, in which I did 12, it was the second bid where I really got abandoned. It's like people just gave up hope of me. Like they were just like, it wasn't the same support. I was able to support myself, in which I did everything comfortably, but it was just, I seen abandonment from people that I never thought or felt would abandon me. And it made me think and grow to the man that I am now. So it's like, even when I was speaking to someone the other day, they were like, yo, we thought we were gonna get out and get locked up again. So it was like, people was already counting me out because I had a history of going to jail from 14 years old.
In and out.
In and out.
I mean, it's pretty much your whole life.
Yeah, it's my whole life. So, I did a total, in the past 23 years, I did 21 years in prison. So a lot of people, to me, I don't feel no different from my first year I went to prison because I'm the one that did the time. So I understand why people would think that, but then give me a chance to prove myself, And that used to hurt me while I was incarcerated. I used to send stuff home and show my progress, and they would ignore that. And I'd be like, I'm gonna show them. I'm gonna show them by being better than them.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And at the end of the day, you did just that. You came out here this time, man, and there's no looking back.
Nah, ain't no looking back, and this is only like 10% of what I got to offer. So if you think that I'm doing good things and big things now, just imagine me next year around this time, 2022. Like the things that I got lined up, I couldn't roll them out because of the COVID. So I rolled out what I was able to roll out by being secluded, by being aware of my surroundings because of the COVID. Me not wanting to catch it and things like that. So I had to roll out a little piece of what I have to offer to the world,
So what do you tell a younger Mike?
Tell the younger Mike, man, learn the 5 P's. The 5 P's is proper preparation prevents poor performance. Because in younger Mike...
Hold up. I think you need to say that again a little slower. I don't know if y'all got that, because I did, but I don't know if y'all got that. I got it because I heard it before, but let me see. Say that again to me.
I would tell the younger Mike to learn the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if you're properly preparing yourself to prevent a poor performance. So I wouldn't have been so sloppy with selling drugs. I would have learned how to invest that money into real estate. I would have learned how to invest that money into a small business and got out the game at an early age. But by me not knowing the 5 P's, I just ran amok and was doing everything for the people.
Okay. So, what about the streets? How do you feel about the streets? I heard you say something about in the book that you wrote was called The Game is Over?
Yeah, The Game is Over.
So how do you feel about the streets? Do you feel like the game is over?
I mean, the game been over. Like when you got a game, let's just a board game. A board game comes with rules and instructions. And if you don't abide by the rules and instructions, then you're practically dead. You know, so the game was over before I got in the game because I didn't know the rules and instructions of the game. So by me not knowing that, and I just came out the house because I wanted to be like the older generation, respected or fed. That's not the rules of the game. So what happened with me striking out so many times, I had to sit back and think like, yo, I became a career criminal at 30 years old. So they was pressing to say, they was telling me I was gonna get 30 years. 30 and 30 years old for 30 years, that's 60. I couldn't even think that far ahead. So I was happy to take 16 years. And when I took that and I went to the prison, you know the first person I seen? Akbar Pred.
The same guy that...
I met him in a different prison. I met him in Virginia. I came, got sentenced, and went to New York, and he was dead.
Wow.
And you know what he said to me? You on a violation? And I said, nah, I caught a new one. He said, how much? I said, 16. He just shook, put his head down, shook it, and walked away. He said, I'm going to have something for you later. He gave me some commissary and stuff. And that was one brother that I can honestly say I disappointed. And I had to spend 7 years with him. And he reminded me every time we worked out in Virginia.
And I'm sure because, I mean, look at it this way. He knows he has 2 life bid sentences. He's never going home. Mm-hmm. He sees a brother that gets out, gets a chance at his freedom, and disrespects it by coming back into that same system that he was supposed to learn from and do different. So he was looking at it like,
and
damn.
you know, at the time, he wasn't the only one that was disappointed. Like I said, he was the first person I seen.
Right.
He ain't the first person I heard. When I came in, the prison was on lockdown, and we was going. They were dropping people off in their unit, and we walked past this one unit. I heard one of my good brothers, Tislon, welcome home. He just came home. He had 3 life sentences. He just came home. They made the movie Belly about him.
Okay.
So Tislon, salute, peace,
Right.
peace to the
Salute.
God. So
Brother.
Tislon was like, I'm standing in front of his unit, and I hear peace, God. So I'm all like, yo, peace. I know his voice. So he's like, yeah, peace. So I'm like, I'm gonna see you later. This the same brother when I was leaving, he runs the R&D to hug me. Like my first bit, because I did my first bit, got out from the prison in New York and came right back to the prison in New York. So the feds sent me back to the prison where I went home from.
Right.
So imagine how the dudes from Boston felt seeing me coming back.
Right.
I'm talking about the ones I ain't sent money to,
Right.
the ones I ain't sent pictures to. So now they like, oh, we ain't giving you nothing. Da-da-da. But they playing, but I felt like, shit. Nah, they short. Because I was out 2 years and they had 5. So now with the good time, they got like 18 months. So now I'm like, damn, it's their turn to go home. And I'm just stunned. So, you know, Tislon, he was like a reminder of, yo, man, when you get out, man, it's over. Game's over, you know? Because he, at that time, he wasn't never coming home.
So, today, you're an established author now.
Yep. Entrepreneur.
Now, you talked about being an entrepreneur. What is it that you do?
So basically, I got me and my lady, we started our own company called Unseen Hands. And Unseen Hands Media. And basically what Unseen Hands Media is that, you know, we do administration work. I help create websites, do photography. We help put out books. We do graphic design. You know, any and everything that has something to do with the media, Unseen Hands get it done.
So that's why you would say that you could help me with my book.
Yeah. Because we got the company. So any and everything with publication, we could get it done. You know, we just started the apparel line.
Is that what you're wearing right
Yeah, the richest gangster, you know.
Richest
the richest
gangster. So
yeah.
what is that?
So basically, you know, a lot of people saying this is gangster, that is gangster, this is gangster. Nah, what's being gangster is making money legit, being rich, and able to share that.
Did y'all
wealth.
hear that? He said making money legit. Damn, that sounds like Gangsta Gone Legit.
Yeah, similar, you know.
Know that?
So you making
See how
money.
the homies think?
You making money legit, and you able to live your life without fearing going to prison
Richest gangster.
forever. You know. So
Okay, so we're an entrepreneur now.
but that's not the only business I started though.
Tell us.
That's the second business I started. The first business I started was
Now I see. Hold on for a minute. Now I see why he was making $100,000 a week when he was selling drugs. This man knows how to get to that paper.
So the first business I started was an investment company called Blue Hills Capital Investments. And basically, you know, that just investing into the financial world. That's one thing that I became real keen at while I was incarcerated. I learned through a couple big wigs from Wall Street, and they taught me what they knew. So I was an avid learner of the financial market.
Do you agree, brother? Because I know you have to agree to this, but I'm going to ask anyway, a question for you. But do you agree that there is no education like you get in a prison?
Nah, it ain't, because you got a lot of dead time. So when you got the dead time, you could just get up and walk to your mentor and be like, yo, what you doing? They go, no, I'm like, yo, I was thinking, and bam, there you go.
And what people don't understand is you got people from all walks of life.
Yup.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And if you're willing to sit down with them, like you said, and you pick their brain, man, you come out sharp
Yep.
as hell, huh?
Yeah, and I had people from all walks of life. I had one that was of Indian descent. I had Italian, African American. I had Jews. I had all walks of life teaching me, and I was excited. And one of my mentors told me, he said that you're an entrepreneur, you just don't got the experience. That was the greatest thing that ever been said to me, because he seen that I was ready. He said, "There's no more I can teach you.
Wow.
You ready?" So when I got out and started Blue Hills Capital Investments and Unseen Hands, I already knew I was going to become a success.
Of course.
I'm not gloating. I'm not bigging myself up. I already knew that. And
I
knew
got a
that.
problem with that, brother. I think you do need to big yourself up, and you do need to gloat, because a lot of brothers who come where we come from aren't able to do that. First of all, how old are you today?
43.
43. I'm
Yep.
50.
Okay.
Right? Let's just be real. You ain't supposed to be here. I damn sure ain't supposed to be here. right?
Exactly.
So if we're here, if we were brothers who were able to take everything that we learned, because just like you, my change came from the feds as well.
Okay.
I met someone from DC. That's why I was ironic that
Yep.
you said DC.
Yep.
Some about them damn
Yeah,
DC
yeah,
dudes,
yeah.
right? And he showed me how to promote consciousness. And I say that, and that's part of my story,
Yep.
right? And that changed my life, brother. That's what kept me from the streets, because I love money, and I would have came home and wanted to do the same shit, just better.
Yep.
I would have never thought of not selling crack or selling drugs again. You feel me?
Yeah.
But what you were able to do, man, was you was able to take those lessons and apply it. And
Yeah.
that's what makes you a dangerous person, man.
And you know, I turned the negative into a positive.
Absolutely.
Because when you go to jail, it's automatically considered a negative. You know, from people on the outside and people from the inside. So when you come in and you see people, you know, they happy that you're there.
Right.
So you know that cliche, misery loves company. That's 100% true, because if I'm happy to see you in prison, misery loves company. I shouldn't be happy to see that you walked in a prison that I'm at federally. That means that we done fucked up countless times to get indicted by the feds.
That's right. Well, I have before I let you go, I have another question. What made you? Well, I'm not gonna say what made you. I want to know the truth. When you was in prison, and you said your biggest thing was, your biggest loss was
Abandonment.
abandonment, right? Yeah. But we don't.
That was a personal loss.
It's
like
personal.
personal. Like family loss,
Family.
the biggest loss, family-wise, was me losing my Aunt Helen. Rest in peace. You know, she's from California.
How does the reason I got like quiet and wanted to really like put emphasis on this is because I think when we're locked up, we never talk about how it feels to not be able to be there for someone, our loved ones or whatever. Like try to think back to when you were locked up. How did it feel when you got the word that was your favorite aunt?
Yeah,
So when she
I'm not really gonna say she's my favorite. She's my most influential aunt because she was she was my only aunt that used to write me consistently
She was in
with
your
positive
corner.
messages. Like, yo, you need to change. Not really in that sense, but she used to always preach about it. Like, yo, you deserve so much better. We love you. We miss you. And that's the type of stuff that I needed to hear. And this was the time where I felt like the whole world abandoned me. And I'm talking about from friends to family.
So when
You know?
so was it her passing that affected you?
It's how I found out about her passing.
Oh, it's the way you found it.
It's the way I found out. It was like, I didn't find out from a family member. You know, somebody called up anonymously, and I called my family, and they said she died last week. So, why you didn't write me in that time and tell me? So it's like, fuck him, he's locked up. Knowing that she's the most influential aunt that I had at that time, and probably the most influential curry of my grandmother's children. Because she was successful in all her endeavors. She was wealthy. And she came from Roxbury, Grove Hall.
I just want to say to everybody who's watching this right here, man. I haven't done this yet, but this is the first time. This brother Mike Curry is very influential. He's exceptional. He's talented and gifted. And I say that because as I sat here and listened to his story, I couldn't help but feel prideful for him, feel like here's a brother that came from the hood, the same streets I was on, the same streets so many of you are on right now, so many streets that so many people before us. And he came home and really made something positive of his life and transformed so well that I can only say that I gotta salute this brother and give him, let him smell his roses while he's alive, as they say. And on that note, you know, I have to tell you, brother, that I respect your movement, everything you're doing as an entrepreneur, the fact that you was able to change everything about you, the fact that you came out here and showed that you were a leader. Now, I don't know if you was a leader when you was running with Castlegate. I don't know if you was just one of the dudes or if you was that dude, but that's irrelevant. It doesn't even matter at that point. What matters is that you're a leader today and you're leading in the right direction. A lot of brothers are going to be able to see this video and they're going to see something that's going to inspire them from this story that you told us. And I have to say, man, I'm proud, brother, that you sat down and you shared this with the world. It's definitely something that they needed to hear. I can't thank you enough for being a part of this platform. And this was the right platform because Real Spit from a Gangsta Gone Legit. This man is a true, and I'm dubbing him this right now in front of everybody. He's a real example of a Gangsta Gone Legit. This is what it's about. It's not about how many of us we shot or how many of us, you know, how much time we did or how much drugs we sold. It's transforming what we used to do, what we used to be, to who we are today, and what we're doing today. Right now, brother, I gotta thank you again, man. All love. We gotta do this again sometime, man. But in closing, I would love for you to give us some parting words to the youth out there and talk to them and just let them know from your mouth, you know, what they need to hear to know about this street life.
Yeah, to the youth out there, you know, I want you to be like me, but don't do what I did to get to the point where I had to learn from inside. Like, if you're willing to learn and you serious with it, then I'm willing to teach you because, you know, knowledge is sempiternal, and sempiternal means knowledge is everywhere, everlasting. So I don't know it all, but I know enough to bring you out your current situation and help you become better than who you are today. And if I can help you become better who you are today, then you can help others. So, that's one of the things that I want to tell the youth. And, don't waste your time having enemies or creating a stack of enemies, because you don't know that it's not going to be your enemies that kill you. It's going to be one of your friends that gave you up to the enemies because they feared that enemy, or the enemy caught them slipping. Or don't accumulate case after case, and then when you get the age of 27, 28, and the feds come get you and you career out, and there's no law that can help you, and you're forced to take 15 years, and then that's when you're going to realize that your friends ain't your friends, and then you'll become bitter, angry, and come home with that negative energy. So just start young, building yourself up, learn something. And I know it's not a lot of people out here like me or Paris or others that's willing to teach you, but we here. It don't matter what neighborhood you're from, it don't matter who your family is or a former enemy. Like, my allies is those that's alike me with teaching, giving knowledge of self, giving knowledge of the business and finance world. That's those who I would love to be around. And I salute all the young generation who is actually moving in that direction. You know who you are, and pull up your peoples and help them out and come together as one. Let's drop this crime rate where they can hate on that.
Facts.
Don't glorify you being from this project or this side street and y'all beefing with 4 or 5 different gangs. My era, we didn't need no help. We didn't need to ally with other gangs to support a beef that we created. So just kill that and become yourself, know yourself. And if you don't know yourself, when you go to jail, you will learn who yourself is, because you're by yourself. And at the end of every day, you go to sleep by yourself. And that's the thoughts that you have when you're going to sleep, what you want to do the next day.
Let's go. In closing, I just want to say to the young brothers out there, stop wanting to die and stop wanting to live. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live. Trust me.
And stop imitating what you see on YouTube or social media or in videos. Like, what I've seen since I got out, it was kind of sickening, to be honest. Like, a lot of people from Boston want to act like rappers from Chicago. Like, this is Boston, Massachusetts. Like, if you're gonna rap or perform, do your own thing. Don't imitate someone that you don't know, because you don't know if they're actually living that life. Be yourself and do what you know how to do to become successful. And once you become successful, create that success story, help others. Even if you help one person, that's enough to last a lifetime, because that person can help 1 or 2 people.
Thank you. Once again, this has been another edition of Real Spit from the Gangsta Gone Legit.